as Tony said, my name is Margaret McCloskey. I'm the Partnership Manager for Money and Pension Service here in Northern Ireland, otherwise known as MAPS. And who are we? Well, we are an arm's length body of the DWP. We engage with Treasury. In 2018, the government in Westminster decided to bring three financial guidance bodies together, namely the Money Advice Service, which you may see on NIWHWC website, the Pension Advisory Service, and PensionWise. And we were brought together under the Financial Guidance and Claims Act 2018 legislation. We were brought together as one corporate brand, obviously, Money and Pension Service, and our consumer brand is Money Helper. I have left a Z card on your table to let you know what Money Helper does and how we can actually help you bring Money Helper into your internal channels. So there's a QR code there if you maybe wanted to scan it just to see the website when I'm going through my presentation. So what do? Well, we deliver on 5 core functions. We deliver pension guidance. We deliver debt advice. Now, debt advice in Northern Ireland is a devolved issue. So the funding comes from the Treasury straight into the Northern Ireland Assembly and straight down into the DFC. And we, as MAPS, well, we look after the integrity and quality of debt advice in Northern Ireland. So we work very closely with the DFC. We also cover money guidance, which is your Money Helper, and we cover consumer protection and of course then the strategy, which is the financial wellbeing strategy. So the OECD found that the UK was well down in the G20 rankings in terms of financial wellbeing. And we, in Money and Pension Service, we were given the legal responsibility to bring about a financial wellbeing strategy. So what you see in this slide here is the 5 pillars for financial wellbeing. And the figures below that are our targets here for Northern Ireland. So I'm just going to quickly go through them with yourselves. In terms of financial foundations, what we need to do, and it's a 10-year strategy, what we need to do is to help 60,000 more children and young people to get a more meaningful financial education when they're at school. What we've done so far this year is we have split the funding with Martin Lewis, and we have put the Your Money Matters booklet into every secondary school in Northern Ireland. So every secondary school has got 100 booklets backed by a teacher's guide and also backed by Young Enterprise in Northern Ireland. We have just completed a focus group in terms of a digital financial wellbeing platform for primary schools. We're going to work with a few schools in Northern Ireland initially, and if we believe through the evaluation that has worked, then we will scale that up and bring the digital financial wellbeing into the primary schools. In terms of nation of savers, well, behaviour and insight evidence suggests that saving regularly not only improves your financial well-being, but it improves your confidence and it reduces anxiety. So what we're looking for under Nation of Savers is to look to yourselves as employers in terms of actually, and I'm not looking forward just yet, I'm on a journey with you, it's a 10-year journey with you. But what we're looking to do is to get employers to think about payroll savings as part of their financial wellbeing strategy. But I've worked with some employers and they have gone straight into payroll savings, whilst others are actually implementing the Money Helper into their internal channels and looking at different other ways of working it. So it'll be dependent on how you are as an employer. What we would find here is that in terms of people saving, then the next pillar on credit accounts, people when they have savings, even if it's only just £600, it means that they're not actually reaching out for payday loans or going to doorstep lenders in terms of actually taking high cost borrowing. And the two, Nation of Savers and credit accounts, work lovely together. So as an employer, you're actually looking at the well-being of your employees by actually bringing that about. And I have lots of insight and evidence in terms of both those pillars, and I can work with you individually on that. In terms of credit accounts, we are looking for 37,000 less people in Northern Ireland reaching out to actually buy food and pay their bills with credit. In terms of what else we're doing, we're hoping that there's going to be a project come here that has to go through legislatively through the Stormont Assembly in terms of bringing about a credit loans for people that have fallen on hard times and they aren't able to get any loans, and it would be a 0% finance loan. But the legislation hasn't, I mean, they're just in the consultation period for that just now, and if it does come into a being, it'll not be until autumn of next year. Better debt advice. We know that when people get debt advice, that it has a very good positive impact on them and for those that receive it. It can take up a person up to 3 years to actually admit that they actually do need debt advice. And really, in terms of your employment, we can actually work with local stakeholders here like Newry, Mourne and Down. They have debt specialists within that, and they can actually come into your premises and talk about what their organisation does, and actually bring in the debt advice slowly and naturally through that progress. We do believe that if people do get debt advice, obviously it works for creditors and society as a whole. The next one is focusing on your future, and it's all to do with pensions. And we're looking for 120,000 more people in Northern Ireland to actually understand enough to plan for the future. Pensions is a complex subject. In Money Helper, we have they're brilliant articles in terms of actually understanding your pension and slowly building up your knowledge and understanding within that. But you also can talk to your pension experts on a one-to-one in terms of, you know, I've got a question, I've asked my finance and HR teams, and they've actually asked me then to go to talk to the pension providers. Well, you can talk to your pension providers, but you can actually also talk to us as well. And it could be that, you know, you've worked in other employers down through the years, and you might have 4 or 5 different pensions. And again, you know, if you're in this employment that you're in just now, it means that you may not be able to talk about that other pension to your HR teams. And this is where you actually can come to us and get pension guidance. Now, not advice, guidance. In terms of pensions, Scottish Widows came out this week and said that we're not saving enough into our pensions. And they quoted women needing to save £210 more per month. So if you're putting £285 into your pension each month just now, they're looking for you to actually put in £495. And you're thinking to yourselves around the room, hold on here, what about my mortgage? What about my student loans? And what about all my other bills? But what they're saying is, if us ladies wants to prepare for ourselves for our future and have the same lifestyle as men, then this is what we actually need to do. And the reason for the difference is because, you know, we do go off and have our children and we take a break in our career, and it does affect our pensions. We may come back part-time, it does affect our pensions. We may then take a career break altogether, or we may not actually go forward and take that promotion in terms of our career, and all of that there does affect our pension. Scottish Widows went on to say this week that the average woman in her 20s of today will have 250k invested into their pension in her lifetime, and that's when she retires, when she's 68, based on today's figures. It could be 70, it could be 75, the way things are going. But this is 100k less than a man of today in his 20s. So you can start to see now the difference in actually needing to look at pensions in terms of building your knowledge and understanding and getting the guidance. Ladies also will need 85k more on top of that, because we live longer than men, and we will need that money for our social care, you know, which is another thing. And you know, this is all, I mean, if you look at the UK in general, 13,300 people are now on their 100th birthday in the UK. So we are living longer and we will need that money. So it is thinking of your future self, but I also understand it's looking at today and what you have in your pocket today. But even if you just, build your knowledge and understanding up in that and help your workers to actually have that knowledge and understanding, that will actually help your future self down the line. So you can see that the 5 pillars there are quite heavy, and there's a 10-year plan on it, and my role is to help you as employers to actually bring that information in and to support you, and everything that I do is free of charge in terms of supporting you as employers. So what do we know about financial wellbeing prior to COVID? Well, first of all, there was 817,000 working age people in Northern Ireland prior to COVID, and 56% of them said that they didn't have a plan for their finances in retirement. 59% said they didn't feel confident about planning for their financial future. 27% said they didn't believe that anything that they could do would improve their situation. 56% struggled to keep up with bills or credit commitments, and 43% said they didn't feel confident about planning their money. COVID-19 has highlighted an even further lack of financial resilience, and with the pressure on the amplified living costs that we're paying out now, it reinforces the need for financial wellbeing in your workplace. The case for financial wellbeing in the workplace is compelling. 94% of UK employees admit to worrying about money, and of these, 77% say that money worries impact them at work. 69% of UK employers believe their employees' job performance is negatively affected when they're under financial pressure. Absenteeism and presenteeism caused by a lack of financial wellbeing costs the UK economy £1.56 billion each year. We appreciate that money is an emotive subject. However, financial well-being is not how well you remunerate your workers, and we found that in 2 studies. Financial capability support was effective across the pay spectrum was a study from RBS Young Worker Study, and in salary finances study they found 2 employee groups to have the most money worries were those earning between 10k and 14k, and those earning more than 100k. For those who have debt, the average amount is £7,500, and that does not include mortgages or rent. 36% say they sometimes struggle to pay off their credit cards. 45% run out of money between paychecks, and that not only impacts those in low incomes, but those actually on high incomes. 1 in 3 people have less than £1,000 in savings. 1 in 4 save regularly, and for those that do, it's around £50 per month. And 1 in 4 would say that they would be able to cover their regular expenses for less than a month if they lost their income. Legal in general, in December of last year, said that was down to 24 days during COVID. There is a strong relationship between financial wellbeing indicators and mental health and wellbeing. People experiencing mental health problems are 3.5 times more likely to be in problem debt than people without mental health problems. Mental health problems can affect a person's ability to concentrate, process complex information, plan and solve problems, and remember necessary steps. It can also increase impulsive behaviour. During periods of poor mental health, some people take out new credit that they probably wouldn't have done otherwise, and such new commitments can mean it's unaffordable credit that will have a lasting impact on their financial burden. So in terms of financial wellbeing, we don't believe that financial wellbeing is a standalone policy. However, it has to have ownership with somebody within the business. Financial wellbeing is in your HR departments. It's talking to your workers about understanding their pay slip, as an example. It's in your finance teams in terms of the pension side, but it's also within the mental health first aiders area. And how can we help you in terms of actually supporting your employees? Well, firstly, I mentioned earlier about the Money Helper. The Money Helper has 8 core money topics. It sits lovely. I'm not sure if you've actually looked at it through the QR code just yet. It sits lovely within your HR channels or your SharePoints. And it actually, what we can do is we can actually demonstrate how it works and the detail that's in it to your workers, either through a webinar or just through small articles that you would like us to look at. We can actually syndicate that into your premises, and that will actually then be able to give you on a monthly basis the number of views that you actually are getting into the business. So it means that you can actually see, it'll not give you the detailed articles if you put it in as a whole. However, putting it in as a whole but getting some detailed articles, then I can give you more feeds and more information on that in terms of traffic. In terms of your mental health first aiders, we have a free Money Guiders programme. Your mental health first aiders are actually talking to workers about how they're feeling in terms of their mental health. Debt, as I mentioned earlier, is an issue. Money worries is an issue, and really what we would be doing here is actually bringing your mental health aiders up to a benchmark figure where they actually will be able to talk confidently about money to the person that may have money worries, and be able to maybe bring a question through in terms of actually getting them to talk about their issues. And then that person then will be able to signpost them either to articles within the Money Helper or be able to signpost them to the likes of Newry and Down, for example, or the Mindwise as well, who also offer debt support for those that actually have mental health issues. We can also give you, if you're actually thinking of actually doing a financial wellbeing survey or actually doing a wee pulse survey within your your mental health work, we can actually provide you with sample questions. I can work with you in the types of questions that you actually want to do, and we can build that as part of your bank. So that's an example of what we can do. And of course then, in terms of pensions, we can actually do webinars. We can do webinars for the over 50s. We can do webinars for the 20s. Would you believe that there's quite a lot of 20-year-olds at the moment that actually have decided I'm opting out of my pension because there is no such thing as a state pension when I actually will reach retirement age, because they're actually getting confused between the state pension and the workplace pension at the moment. So they've opted out, and that is quite rampant right across Northern Ireland. So it's making sure that our young of today actually are not doing that. So we can do that through webinars, we can individualise it for you, and we also can give one-to-one support to yourselves in terms of actually talking to your pension experts at a time that's convenient to you. So that is me, Tony. I just want to thank you for your time this morning, and thanks very much for inviting me down. Thank you.